All right, I am joking. I am joking. This video is designed to get you mad. And if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, it's designed to get you all hyped up and antsy. Because, of course, what would the Montreal Canadiens be without a misfit fan base that gets high off of pissing off other teams' fans? This was a very funny Twitter thread that I saw yesterday that popped up on my feed, and it was so, egregiously brash. It was so satirical. It was so factually correct. And it triggered a bunch of people that I was like, you know what, I kind of want to make a video about that. That's funny. That's real funny stuff. So yesterday, we had ourselves a tweet made by NHL insider Max Pacioretty. Of course, they're not the real Max Pacioretty, they're just a fan. And they tweet about Canadian stuff. I've seen this user pop up on my Twitter feed once in a while. Even their profile picture, it's the Grant McKegg picture right there. So big shout out over to Max Pacioretty for giving us some laughs. They tweeted this out a few days ago. Goals this season. Tim Stutzle, 7. Joel Armia, 7. I was told that one of these guys was an elite talent, quote unquote. Now that, of course, is bait. It's huge bait, and we had a whole bunch of replies, a lot of retweets. This got 30,000 views on Twitter, and you have Sens fans going out there and eating this up. They're taking the bait, saying, wait a minute, are you kidding me? Tim Stutzle is this, he's that, he's good, he's great, he's better than Armia, he's all that and more, and of course, that's the response that Canadiens fans are trying to get here when bringing up the fact that Tim Stutzle, of all people, is tied with Joel Armia in total goals. This doesn't even talk about assists or points or anything, it just says goals. So, I wanted to use this video as an opportunity to go over both of these guys, because I do like taking time to just talk about players and how they've been, but that's not really that attractive of a topic. Because now we have this tweet that kind of went viral, it gives me the right to say, hey, let's actually have a conversation about what's been going on with these two players, starting out with the advanced analytics. Now, if you wanted to go over the regular analytics, we have that available on our hand, but the advanced ones are right underneath the tweet. T. Reynard went out there and said this, I'm not making an argument, I'm just posting some stats. And what they posted were the 5-on-5 Joel Armia and Tim Stutzle breakdowns. Armia is averaging 11.18, Stutzle 15.53. Armia actually has almost twice the goals per 60 that Tim Stutzle has this season. However, Timmy Stu is averaging 1 assist every 60 minutes he plays. Armia is averaging 0. Points per 60, you can see that Stutzle is averaging about 2.68 versus Armia, who is only really averaging a goal per 60. And then for shots per 60, Armia is in that same category. They're slightly differed by a very slim margin. Then you have a few other categories here. Corsi 4 percentage, Timmy Stu is much better than Joel Armia. Goals 4 per 60, Timmy Stu, much better than Armia. Of course, though, that could be due to the playing time difference and the role matchups. Expected goals for percentage is in Stu's favor, as well as pretty much everything else, and so when it comes to this comparison and talking about role players like Armia and superstar forwards like Tim Stutzle of all people, there are a few extra, just troll comments going out there and saying similar things. Oh, would you trade Armia for Stutzle? It would depend if Ottawa retains. Armia has 0 assists this season versus Timmy Stu, who's got over 30. That just means that Armia is playing with worse players. And then there is a reasonable reply from a Canadiens fan, Paul. I love dunking on the Sens any chance I get, but trying to chirp about Tim Stutzle is just silly. He's having a rough patch, no doubt, but so did Cole Caulfield, and Stutzle is still almost at a point-per-game pace. He would be the best forward the Canadiens have had in 25 years. Let's stick to chirping. Who the hell is JK? Jesperi Kotkaniemi, that's who it is. Okay, that's funny. We could talk about that too. But the Jimmy Stu conversation is pretty much summed up by this Sens fan tweet. 1 is on pace for 80 points, playing his worst possible hockey, and 1 is having a career year. Rent-free. Now, of course, that's kind of taken the bait. It's why the tweet was even made in the first place. But if we talk about Jimmy Stu and his season this year, he is at 7 goals in 39 games played, on pace for about 15, which would be a pretty big departure from the 39 goals he had last year. But he is still a point-per-game player, with 31 assists in 39 games played as well. He's on pace for about 80, which would be lower than his 90-point season last year, but The Sens have been so disappointing everywhere else in the lineup that Tim Stutzle having these points is somewhat of a miracle in and of itself, because he's already struggling as it is. The fact that he's still producing at an 80-point pace is totally fine. This is a player that, with his $8 million salary and his 22 years of age, there's no doubt that Stutzle is going to get that 100-point mark at some point in the next few years on this contract. This season is probably just a transitory year heading into that period. This is slow growth. It's development. It's character building. And for a guy like Timmy Stu, who has pretty much been trusted to being the top player on this team, he's got to take that in stride, and you could very well say that he is. It's just coming with a pretty big decline in points and an overall status that says, yeah, like, you watch the games, you can still see he's effective, but the rest of the Sens around this roster are not great. It's Jimmy Stu and Claude Giroux, top of the team in points, and Brady Tkachuk is right behind them. Honestly, the Sens have some pretty good individual point production out of these guys. It's just they can't string together wins. And during some of these games, I mean, you see how clustered they look, how unstructured they are in their breakouts, how their offense just cannot click at certain times. It's an odd season for the Ottawa Senators, especially after all the hype heading into the year. We saw it, we believed it. I mean, some of y'all probably believed it. I believed it personally. Like, I was like, yeah, Tim Stutzle was at 90 points. He's going to be so good next year. And they got Tarasenko too. Like, there's no reason for the Sens to have a sucky year next season. And then you realize that Joonas Korpisalo has an .884 save percentage. And then you're like, oh, okay, that's not good. Either way, though, dunking on Timmy Stu is one thing. It's all just for the memes. It's all for the lulz. I'm not going out there and alienating fan bases by making a video like this. Hell nah. I said at the beginning of the video, man, this is for fun. This is for the lulz. In fact, let's go out there and talk more so about the lulz by going over Joel Armia, because his profile is so funny this year. 30 years old, still making $3.4 million a year till the end of 2025. He was in Laval this season because he wasn't really all too useful. And this year, he's got 7 goals in 27 games and 0 assists. Man, Joel Armia fell off. And I get it, it's not like he was ever the most important player on the team, but I've always been a fan of Armia, you know? Like, the way he's able to control the puck on the boards, how he's able to do it so casually, where he puts himself on the ice at the right places at the right times. There's a reason he's got 7 goals and 0 assists. Like, he's not a playmaker going out there doing his thing, but he certainly can be at the right spot. And for the Montreal Canadiens in 23-24, we are certainly seeing that out of Armia and his game, much to the delight of Habs fans who want to use this as a chance to dunk on Tim Stutzle, of all people. Like, of course, man, take a look at Armia and his point production. His best season ever in the NHL had 58 games played, 30 points, 16 goals. Sure, that was technically his career year, but Joel Armia nowadays is not that. Even Armia's best season was a lot worse than what Timmy Stu did last year. It just so happens that nowadays the Canadiens have some injuries, they have some guys that are out of the lineup, and they needed extra bodies to fill that spot. Having Armia in the minors isn't a good look considering he's making so much gosh darn money, but the fact is, he was bad enough to be down there in the first place. So, overall, this entire Armia Stutzle thing is literally just Habs fans memeing around and having fun with it. Nobody take this seriously. I just wanted to use this as a chance to talk about both of these guys because, I mean, look, for Joel Armia, I'm not going to go out there and say that he's an ineffective bad player. Like, he's still going out there and forcing things to happen. I mean, the goal that he scored against Colorado was such an epitomizing trait of his, where he just has this ability to come alive once in a blue moon, where he forces things through his own sheer power of will to happen, and he forces a goal to go in to allow the Canadiens to beat the Colorado Avalanche. Like, that's crazy. Literally maybe the best goal we have seen from a Canadiens player all year. Like, the individual effort there was incredible. And it was so incredible that if you take a look at the game sheet, the game score impact card for the Canadiens and Avalanche game from that January 15th matchup, Joel Armia was literally the best player on the ice. And it's games like these that make Habs fans just absolutely adore this hype train. Hey, there is a good NHL player here sometimes. It's just you only see that NHL player maybe once every few weeks. So now, it's our time again. Joel Armia had a great game, and Canadiens fans are using that as an opportunity to dunk on Timmy Stu, who by no means deserves any of the criticism. He's just getting memed on for fun. So, because this was a lighthearted video, I'm expecting some lighthearted conversation in the comments. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you are a Sens or a Canadiens fan. What are your thoughts on the way Stu and Armia have played this season? Are you concerned about Jimmy Stu and his production? Are you a fan of how Armia can come alive in certain nights? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this. And bye.